Welcome back to the Boundary Corner podcast. I am Curtis Wilson.
I'm Brian Siegler, buddy. We're here on a Wednesday night. How you feeling tonight, man?
Happy Wednesday, happy hump day. Feeling good, man. Excited about this episode, dude. Super excited.
This one's been one that's been cooking for a while.
Cooking for what, about 5-6 weeks?
Yeah,
you guys
started talking about it about 5 weeks. Yeah,
it's pretty sweet. You guys got me kind of hyped last night when we chatted about 20 minutes about some of the things y'all are seeing and what y'all are expecting. So I can't wait for this episode, man. And let's not even wait. Let's go ahead. Let's bring on our friend, Coach Robbie Compton.
What's up, Robbie? How you doing, man?
Hanging in there, man.
Where are you, dude?
I am in my office in the field house at the high school that I coach at in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Right in the hole, baby. Right in the hole of the ship.
The North Wilkesboro Vikings there. I mean, this is truly going to be chalk talk then. Like, you're in the element where I'm
man, I got whiteboards. I got everything I need, baby. We can draw it up. We can do what you need.
Hell yeah.
I got some equipment. We can dress it up and knock it out if we have to.
Find you a couple bodies around there. Give us a little demo.
Yeah, let's do some widescreen
technique.
Some technique.
I hope my kids are at home either doing homework or going to bed. But,
good deal, man. Well,
I'm trying to stay up as long as I can. I got to get a tooth pulled in the morning, so I want to be as tired as possible.
Oh my! I don't blame you. Oh, that finding abscess tooth right there. So
yeah.
So we'll stay we will prolong this episode as long as you can, so we can send you to bed late, get you up early. All right, so guys, what we're going to be doing here, about 2 months ago after Brent Pry was hired, Brian obviously has an offensive knack for the game. He played offensive line, as did Robbie, but Robbie, ever since he's pretty much been coaching, has primarily focused on defense.
Yep.
So what we wanted to do was Robbie took a look at Brent Pry's defense, obviously something you were already familiar with because of who he was, where he plays.
A little bit.
Brian looked at Tyler Bowen's offense from the Fordham days, looking a little Joe Moorhead. So what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to dive into this, and we're going to start with the defensive side of the ball. So, Robbie, let's start with this. Give me some ideas of what type of schemes Brent Pry or Chris Marv, and we'll give Chris Marv a shout out because he is the defensive coordinator in name. We just get a feel it's going to be a lot of Brent Pry handprints on this defense this year. What kind of scheme are we looking at here?
I'm going to be honest with you, looking at it, reading a lot of things, trying to figure some stuff out. I know I've got a lot of influence from Bud Foster. And I've done a lot of things in my coaching career, looking at a lot of things he does from his 4-4, his original 4-4, and how he adapted so many different things. And the big thing you'll notice with Brent Pry is he was a GA at Virginia Tech when Coach Foster started a lot of his original 4-4. And Coach Foster got a little bit into the 4-3, away from the 4-4, giving a little bit. He always had that hybrid type player, moved around. He could still use some of the same principles. And then as the game adapted, offenses started spreading out more, things like that. You went more to a 4-2. Well, as we all know, we had, Coach Hamilton come in at Virginia Tech. He had that same Bud Foster flavor to it.
Yeah.
But he was much later in the career. Okay, so he had a lot of influence from the later 4-2 principles. I think with Coach Pry, you're going to see a lot more of the original.
Okay.
4-3. It's going to be very aggressive. It's going to be you're going to have 3 true linebackers. Now, you may see them aligned differently, and it looks more like a 4-2, but the way they're going to align, we'll see later. I'll show you a couple things later the alignment is going to look more like a 4-2. They're still going to play with a lot of 4-3 principles. And you're going to see that from position group to position group that's really going to play true. And the reason I talk so much about Coach Pry's part in it is you do have Chris Marv, who's the defensive coordinator. Okay? Marv played under Brent Pry at Vanderbilt.
Yep.
When Coach Pry was the defensive coordinator under Franklin, who's now at Penn State, where he just came from. They traveled together. Marv has stuck a lot to those same roots, a lot to what he was taught there. And in a game of football, when it comes to defense, it's not so much a selfishness, but what it comes down to is Marv knows that he played under Pry, and he knows exactly what he expects. Pry's going to have a hard time giving up that play calling after doing it for so many years.
Yep.
Pry knows that it's his job. When it comes down to it, if the whole team isn't successful, they don't come and look at the offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator and say, well, you guys are what happened. They go to the head coach. So he's going to keep his hands on those things. And Marv is a good enough coach and good enough. He's played in the system. He knows what is going to expect. And I think you're going to see that recruiting group with Coach Pry being a GA early on, and you got a certain defensive line coach, Coach Price, who was a player at that time, who's been through that system. Marv was taught that system as Pry was teaching it. You've got a safeties coach in Pearson Prelude who played in that system. The system's going to stay pretty consistent to what Pry is used to. And I think Marv's going to tend to work towards that. That's what I'm thinking. And everything I've read and everything I've looked at, you see a lot of that flavor that Pry always put out there in what Marv does. Now, Marv has some athletes at Florida State and some other places he had that were a little different, that he could do some other things with, and those are adjustments. Every defensive coach in the world should be making some kind of adjustments depending on the personnel they have. So you have to take those things into effect. But I think when you really look at it, you're gonna see that old school aggressive, filling gaps, getting to the football, attacking football, and going to let the secondary. They're going to stop the run first. Secondly, they're going to stop the run. Third, they're going to worry about somebody that might run an option and stop that run, and then they're not going to let big plays beat them very deep. I mean, that's what you're going to see. You're not going to see a lot. I don't think especially early on, you're not going to see a lot of weird coverages and robbers and things of that nature. You're going to see some split coverages. You'll see a cover 2 on one side and a cover 4 on the other. But you'll see, you're going to see the basis of what Virginia Tech remembers as hard-nosed football on the defensive side. That's what I feel like you're going to see. And his philosophy is that hard-nosed, get to the football, fill the gaps, simple, get to the football. That's his philosophy. That's what they're going to do.
Is it one of
everybody's going to buy into that?
Is it one of those things where you talk about robbers in different zones? Is he one of those guys where I'm keeping it simple because I don't want this to tie up these feet? I want to play fast.
It's not going to be. You're going to get some things that are going to, like I said, with personnel that are going to help them, that they may be able to do better than other teams and do this and that. But you're not going to get these exotic blitzes and crazy rolling coverages all the way across fields to cover certain things. And in some cases, people doubt, in today's game where offenses run RPOs and things like that, RPOs may give this defense trouble early on. It is what it is because they're going to be focused so hard on shutting down that run.
Okay.
And when you get that run read, he pops to throw it. You might have a linebacker that's going to have to learn how to slow play a little bit more instead of attacking full speed. But he's going to start finding that linebacker that can play down and recover quick. And I mean, the personnel is going to make those things easier. And I think that's a lot of where they're headed. And very fast flow team. You're not going to see a lot of sitting on the heels and waiting to see if it's pass or run. We're going to play the run right now. We're going to get you.
Is that a way somebody can get their
take care of that?
Is that a way somebody can get their butt benched? Is playing on the heels with Brent Pry?
I expect so, especially in the front 5 or 6. them 4 linemen, there ain't going to be any more half penetration and widening things out. It's going to be going to get football, buddy.
Oh yeah,
it's going to be Daryl Tapp and that crowd going against the. I mean, if you look at the staff and the people they've hired, they're going back to what Virginia Tech has, and they're bringing the influence in for what Virginia Tech used to be. Prelude, Adibi has been added as an analyst.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, that kind of football player. I mean, if they could bring back Vince Hall, it'd be a lot of people crying. I mean, you might can still dress those 2 out and play. I know Coach Tapp. I've seen him lately. I know he could dress up and go.
Yeah.
You're right about that.
We've seen him too. And looking at Adibi, it doesn't feel like he's far off either.
Oh, my God.
No, it doesn't. And it's sort of funny because you do have 2 from the 95 team when Bud started that to be in the co-DC and it was slowly built. Exactly. But let's get into this. But Robbie, you did everything in one great thing there. You got scheme. We talked philosophies. We heard tendencies about attacking. Let's start looking at the individual parts. I want to get some ideas. I want to start on the D-line. Let's talk about J.C. Price's group. Let's start with the defensive tackles. All right, what is the base alignment going to look like against 11 personnel?
You're going to against 11 personnel, you're going to see and it's funny because we were just talking about I was just having meetings with our middle school coaches, me and my head coach here. And, we said, 11 personnel. People don't understand that. That's a tight end and a running back.
Yep.
11 personnel. You're going to see a basic, more than likely, you're going to see a basic, it's a 4-3, but your Sam backer is going to be a little wider. Up front, you're going to have a 2-eye to a shade, depending on probably where your weakness is on the offensive line. If you've got a monster guard that's killing things, you're not going to shade the center because it's going to give him the angle to take your double team. You're going to move him over and make it harder for that monster to block.
All right, so is this going to be both defensive tackles or going to be 2 shades?
No, we're talking about what they would probably call the nose.
Okay.
Gotcha.
He's going to be. I would say he'd probably be in a 2-eye to a shade. Depend if the center is the one that's the horse for the team. If the guard is, he's going to move around a little bit there.
Okay.
You're going to see a 3 technique opposite in the tackle position. You're going to see more traditional defensive linemen, I think.
Okay.
I'm talking
all right.
290s to 330s. Big boys and filling holes. I mean, unless you can find an Aaron Donald who's going to blow that thing up in a 3 technique, you're going to get big boys that are filling holes and going after stuff. You're gonna see the return of the old Tim Settles and those type guys, the big guys that can fill the gaps and wreak havoc in there.
All right.
I know the last couple of years you've had some little bit smaller guys that were a little more athletic that try to stretch your field up front. We're gonna see the return of those big defensive tackles and hard rushing defensive ends.
All right, so you were kind of hitting on it there with is the defensive tackle run responsibility, is it just going to be to clog the gaps to essentially make it a 2-gap, like essentially take
they're gonna they're going to penetrate those gaps.
Okay.
They're going to get some penetration. They're going to try to play. They're going to try to get that guy coming up and catch it from the backside while they're running through gaps. I mean, they're going to be chasing balls down because that guy's going to be trying to get away from everything up front. But they're going to close it in on the ends. You're going to have a 5 technique with a tight end. You're probably going to have a 7, maybe an 8. He may line up on the inside shoulder to tight end, maybe head up, depending on whether they're counting on that tight end a lot in the pass game. That's what we do. You know, if the tight end's in the pass game a lot, I'm going to put a man in his face, slow him down.
Yep.
If he's a blocker, I'm going to set a guy inside of him and make sure I got gap responsibility to the outside. Make him block one down, and he can't take care of the guy outside of it.
All right.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, makes sense. Running 5 and 7 techniques on defensive end, running a 2 shade, a 3 technique on the line. If you're out there and you're listening tonight, he's going to have some video and stuff later. Go to Google. You can find where these techniques are, and you'll understand the alignment Robbie's talking about here. I'm going to go back to defensive tackles real quick. You talked about what they're going to do in the run game. What are we going to see from them in like a pass rush game? What are they going to be? Are they going to stun? Is it going to be slants? Or because that stuff we remember from Bud. Defensive tackles slanting a lot.
You're going to see a lot of movement. You're going to see a lot of slanting. There may be some twists and stuff, but I think early on you're going to see a lot of you're going to see a lot of basic slanting, not a lot of twisting, not a lot of crossing early on, because they're going to want to be gap responsible. Okay, when you start to twisting and things like that, linemen start moving and exchanging blocks. Linemen start pulling on twists. You start to lose gap responsibility in places. I don't think you're going to see a lot of that early on. I've got one, if you want to pull it up, Brian, here. The personnel here, I think is what's going to be a basic look for them. And you see here, there's a lot of slanting into the gaps. They're taking away A and B gaps with the linemen, and you have the linebackers ready to play through A gap and C gap here. Just gap sound football. And I think that's going to be the biggest thing. And the thing is, they're going to play fast. They want to be aggressive. And they want to play quick to the ball. Not anything messing around and wondering if you know, a 7 and a 3 start twisting and one guard pulls, you lose a gap, you know, it leaves things open. You won't have that with a lot of this stuff here. That's what I mean, this is something that Pry's run a lot at Penn State. This was a lot of his base look. And don't be surprised to see them run a lot of base early. I don't expect a lot of different things, especially out of the spring, until they can get this base stuff down. And it shouldn't take long because it should be simple.
Yeah. I'm gonna do a quick shout out here. This is Robbie Compton loves Brandon Patterson at Tech Sideline because Robbie didn't have to draw all this stuff up when he read Brandon's article and find the video. So shout out Brandon Patterson at Tech Sideline. All right, Brian. All right, Robbie, you got it up here. You've already talked about the 5 and the 7 techniques. Give me a little run game responsibility for the ends. Give me a little what we're going to see pass rush wise from these guys. The 5 and
pass rush wise, I mean, they're going to go after it now. They're going to be getting after that quarterback. If he's spending a lot of time in the back looking for anything downfield, he's going to have a hard time. They're going to come after him. As far as the run game goes, like I said, with the RPOs and things that teams like to run now, if you look at this particular base formation with the wheel coming around that edge as well, trying to help seal, you're going to get some blitz out of that. But you think that RPO, you know, you got this boundary corner backing up and you have this X come in on a slant. Well, the wheel's evacuating right there. The slant could be there. But like we said before, we've got a man now coaching safeties who's played in this system, who knows what to do. This safety coming down, he's going to meet it quick. You're going to get some catches in here, but you're not gonna get a lot of yards, hoping for not a lot of yards after the catch.
If they catch it, they're gonna pay for it.
Yes. we're getting 5 guys coming to the football and trying to get after the quarterback. Pry and Marv, neither one are afraid to blitz anything. You're not going to see. I expect you will see probably 60% of the game that there's at least 5 people coming after that thing at all times.
Damn.
All right, let me ask you this. So we talked a little bit about the pass game. In the run game, if they're playing a heavy read option team, is the defensive end, are they attacking the mesh point? What are they doing? Are they slow playing it?
By the looks of what we've got here, I'm expecting the 5 and the 7 are probably going to be attacking the mesh and going after the quarterback.
Okay.
They're going after that point. I'm thinking that the free safety coming down to help, and this Sam that's split wider, who's playing this hook to curl in a pass, he's gonna be a blitzer sometimes out of this area. He's gonna be the guy going after that pitch man. So,
let me ask this, Robbie, about you talk about Brian asked about the mesh point and you say hit the quarterback. You think this is just a philosophy thing from Pry that says, don't worry about the running back. We've got guys behind you that can clean that up. Make that quarterback think every time he touches the ball and it's a read, I'm going to hit you. I don't care if you give it to the running back. I'm going to pop your ass.
Well, it's an option focused thing.
Yep.
We tell our players all the time, I got a certain player every play. If you've got a certain gap, you've got the quarterback in an option. And they'll ask me all the time, well, if it's not an option, what do I have? Well, you still make your line at that quarterback at that mesh point, just in case he comes out and runs. Because if he comes out and runs, as far as I'm concerned, it's just like he's running an option.
Yeah. It's also about forcing that predictable outcome, right? So if you're running at the mesh point, more than likely that's going to, if the quarterback is reading properly, he's going to give, and giving creates a little more predictable outcome in how your defense is aligned.
And if we force him to give it because he don't want to get popped from that guy coming in there at it, then I've got 3 other guys outside of that mesh point that are there to make the play on that ball anyway.
Yep.
So I've forced him into exactly what I wanted. But I've got myself covered if he pulls it.
Good deal.
So, I mean, it's going to be back to a lot. And the front end's not a lot different than what they've been doing. But we haven't seen Virginia Tech play that option look, the triple option look and stuff like that, like they used to play every year at Georgia Tech and things like that in the last couple of years. Georgia Tech's kind of gotten away from it. Their coach is right out here with us right now. He's helping a local high school out here in Western North Carolina.
Is Paul Johnson really doing that?
Paul Johnson he lives in Avery County, which is up the mountain here. And
are you gonna have to play him next year?
Him a little bit.
Are you having to play him next year?
No, we scrimmaged him at the beginning of this year. And, they're mean on it. They run a spread look, but they'll run an option on it. They're pretty good at it.
They're running the spread look. They're not running the flex bone.
They'll bring the slot in motion and arc him around the back, and they'll run a dive option out of that.
Okay, so they're still giving the same type of look, just in a different formation.
Oh, yeah, they're pretty good at the option, believe it or not. I don't know how that happened.
All right, let's jump into this, Robbie, because you've already mentioned Will, Mike, Sam. Let's talk about the linebacker group a little bit. And luckily, you've got this up here. Is this going to be kind of the look we see all the time with that Sam far out, or is the Sam more of a movable piece in this?
If you ask me, just judging the way he's done so many things, and Marv's done some of the same things, your Sam is going to be, to a typical coach, Sam backer is your strong backer. He's standing beside the mic. He's playing strong inside against the run. In this particular scheme, it's a little different. That Sam is going to play to the wide side of the field. He's going to be the athletic guy. He's going to be the one that they can play out wider. He can blitz from wide and still get there. He can play the hook to curl, which is what I call hot two. He can play a zone there and still recover, like for an RPO. They fake the run, he comes down, he can get back. They're going to be that kind of guy. A good prototype for that. If you really look, you go back to some of his Penn State stuff and Michael Parsons. The guy's a cowboy. I can't stand the fact that he's a cowboy. That is a phenomenal football player. And he can play any of the three positions on the field. But he's athletic enough to play coverage, to play the run, and play both at the same time, kind of if he needs to. That's the kind of guy that they're going to look for at that Sam spot.
So what just recently happened with Tech in the last, I guess, 2 or 3 weeks is they moved 2 kids who were in the secondary. They're out of Salem, the McDonald twins. What are they, 6'3", 6'4", Brian, about 220?
Yeah.
Pretty athletic kids, long and lean, and they were expected to be like playing safety or maybe even playing corner based on their size, but Pry has immediately moved them. Does that shock you based on what you see with him wanting to do with like the Sam with that position?
That's possible. But the thing is, they could also fit in the wheel position the way they run it, because the wheel backer is not your typical run stuffer kind of guy either. He's athletic. He's going to be able to play some coverage, but he's going to be a blitzer. He's going to be a guy running around the edge. He's going to be more of a hybrid defensive end linebacker type guy. Okay? I mean, so you could see those guys. You said they're twins. There's 2 of them.
There's 2 of them.
So there could be one on each side.
Okay.
They could be training one for each. I mean, the only thing I feel 100% confident about is that Mike player is I can tell you who it's going to be.
Uh-oh.
And he's going to wear number 4. And he is going to crush things. I've been watching this kid. I've been coaching in North Carolina for 11 years now. People in North Carolina know who Dax Holyfield is.
And this is the system that was made for him. It's why he came. He wanted to play in Bud's system. He plays for a couple years. Bud leaves. He does not have the best 2 years in Ham's system. I'm assuming because of the difference in responsibilities for the Mike for Ham versus
it's a guy that played out of position in Bud's system the 2 years he was in it, and then has played. Yeah, and then now he, didn't really find a good fit in Ham's system.
Yep. We're
finally probably going to get a look at what essentially the maximal version of Dax Holyfield might look like.
I think Dax could play from the 7's inside butt cheek to the 5's outside butt cheek and make any play that tries to come in there. He can cover it. I mean, he's a downhill attack thing football player.
And is that what the Mike is in this system?
Yes.
Downhill attack versus
downfield attack. Now he's going to have some coverage responsibilities, and things aren't going to cross his face in the middle. He's going to remind you of those old school linebackers that they had in there. I mean, Dax Holyfield can make an NFL payday this year with a great season at that Mike position, in my opinion.
Okay.
And he's gonna redeem himself, and he's the guy that I feel confident is gonna make the rest of this work with these linebackers.
Okay.
Like I said, I don't know a lot about their defensive linemen and who's back and who's coming back and who fits where, but I know Dax Holyfield, and I know that's gonna play well for them. Let me ask. They wins and split them. I know they've got a couple of good recruits from out here in this area. The Gosnell kid that had played right here in our backyard for a couple of years at Surrey County. Now he's at Carroll County in Virginia. His whole family moved up there. That kid, he could be a Sam guy. He could be a defensive end guy. I don't know what their plan is with him.
He could be a tight end.
From injury.
Yeah, I mean he's played. He played on both sides of the ball. He played a couple different positions on defense.
Yeah, inside linebacker, outside linebacker.
Yeah,
defensive end, tight end, running back. You name it, that kid's played it.
So let's talk about another player that I know we've kind of talked about a lot on here, and we talked about a little bit with you. Let's talk about Alan Tisdale. Is he somebody you think that can be that kind of Sam type backer in this new system?
I think looking at it, he may be the most prototypical of what they have right now.
Okay.
But like we've said, he's had some up and downs, but he's played in multiple different systems. He come in looking at Bud Foster's system, and they had him in places and moved him around. Then they switched to Hamilton's system, and he may have been out of position and moving around, some inconsistencies. Some of those may have come from just the different positions and the different types of defenses they were playing.
Okay.
Then you combine that with some mistakes and some inconsistencies in other positions, and it makes everybody look bad.
Yeah.
When everybody's playing well, everybody looks good. Sometimes when one person plays bad, then nobody looks good.
Yeah.
It's as bad as that. I mean, it could have been, the safety could have been having a bad game. Linebackers may have been in a good position, but they looked bad because the safety wasn't where they were.
We talked about it here all the time. If safety's bad on a fill, and everybody else could be doing everything perfect, but now you got a 30, 40-yard gain on the run.
I mean, the worst thing in the world a football player can do is try to play two positions at one time. Okay, I'm playing my position, but I know this guy's not doing what he's supposed to do. Then you try to fill that, you take away from yours, then both of you are wrong.
Yep.
But I think it's an opportunity he can really redeem himself. I think he could play Will. I think he could play either one of those spots. But I think just by looking at what's coming back there, he probably fits that mold more than others.
Okay.
And I say that because I coach linebackers, so I've seen more of their linebackers and things. That's why I'm not quite as up to date on who's coming back, who's playing with the other positions, because I see a lot of linebacker stuff. I use a lot of that stuff on a daily basis.
So you talked about Will a little bit. Let's talk about that one other backer in that group, Keyshawn Artis. Is he going to be a guy that you think could also fill in at Will? I know he's got a little bit of a heavier shoulder than Tisdale, so might be a little bit better against the run in those responsibilities.
I think Tisdale, in my opinion, and looking at the way they do things, I think I would start with Tisdale at the wheel, Holyfield and Mike, and Artis at the wheel, Holyfield at the Mike, and Tisdale at the Sam, just because I think Tisdale's a little bit more of an athlete.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's going to be better to mix it back and forth. And Artis is going to be a guy that can really help and support things cutting back, really filling it on the backside. He can blitz off around that edge. I mean, I really think he fits there of those three guys that are coming back that they can count on.
Can I say some or ask something else, Robbie? Because you mentioned this yesterday. We didn't see all three of those guys on the field a lot in J-Ham's system. But something you said yesterday about Brent Pry is he maximizes who's on the field. He would rather have his three best linebackers than, well, here's my best fit for Mike, here's my best fit for Will, here's my best fit for Sam. It's like, no, screw that. These are my three best linebackers. They're going to be on the field.
Yeah. He's very much we can get the best out of things with what's on the field rather than changing a lot of things around. Okay? You're going to get teams that are going to go out there. They're not going to have the tight end. They're going to be in a spread. And we might need a nickel set. Okay? You're going to start to look at, can we get that out of the Sam and cover that hook to curl area and keep our safety a little deeper to help us there and keep the wheel covering the edge rather than switching out a nickel and doing that.
Okay.
But one thing you will see from what I've seen is when they go to a nickel, the Sam or wheel that comes out, the nickel is going to go into the corner, and their best corner is probably going to go in on the slot.
Okay.
And it sounds weird, but I think what they're doing is 9 times out of 10, you're going to find the most athletic receiver is probably going to be a slot. Your deeper guys are set by boundaries. They're more possession type guys or blow the roof off of things. So they're not, they're running the outs and the verticals and the things like that. The slot receivers are the guys running the comebacks and the pigtails and the curly cues or whatever the hell you want to call it. All these crazy little routes that they come up with now. And you put that best corner on that guy, he's not going to get away from that stuff as much.
Okay.
All right. Well,
so, but yeah, you're going to see a lot of 3 linebacker sets.
Good deal.
You're not going to see him change a lot of personnel. Now you'll see some defensive line rotation because you're going to be penetrating so much. These guys are going to be moving and running. And at 310 pounds, 3 or 4 plays, we got to get some more out there and keep that going.
That's the big thing that's not changing from what we saw in J Ham's system to what we're seeing with Pry is that they're going to be rotating defensive linemen at a regular basis. We're probably going to need at least 10 deep at D-line guys that are going to see significant snaps in a given game.
I would say so.
Good deal. You mentioned it already, so let's drift to the back end there in the secondary. First of all, you told us Derek Jones, the cornerbacks coach.
Coach Jones and I have had some conversations a few times. He was at Duke for a while.
Yeah.
We had a few players while I was at Rose and Greenville that Duke recruited pretty hard. A particular wide receiver, maybe a defensive lineman, a couple other guys. We had some other guys that they recruited too, because we had some very intelligent young men too that they did some walk-on stuff with. We never got anybody to Duke, but he was always a great one to deal with, great one to talk to. I'm glad to have him on our side now. He's a phenomenal DB coach now, and that's one thing back in the heyday with Virginia Tech's best defenses they always had. They always had a great DB coach.
Yep.
Coach Gray was a phenomenal individual.
Oh yeah.
When he getting those DBs ready, and I think from knowing Coach Gray and now Coach Cheetah's a lot of that same personality. He's very positive, upbeat. But they're going to be aggressive. They're going to be playing. They're going to be ball players, and he's going to have them. He's going to have those, especially those corners. I think is where he's going to spend most of his time focusing.
Yeah,
is those corners.
He's strictly corners coach.
They're going to be ready. They're going to be football players. You're going to. Virginia Tech's going to be back to that DBU feel pretty quick, I expect.
Good deal.
It's all going to come down to that recruiting part, which is one of his best assets by far.
The guy got 4 stars to Duke. That in itself, you don't need to say anything else. It's like he got talented players to Duke. That's just, let me ask this, because you talk about him being a phenomenal coach. What are we going to see from this back end on the corner end? Are they zone? Is it a lot of man? Does Marv mix it up? What are you expecting from that?
There's going to be a lot of – I think you're going to see some split coverage. You're going to see some cover 4 to one side, cover 2 to the other. You're going to have corner and safety probably on the boundary side. So you're going to see a lot of boundary corner, field corner, and boundary safety, field safety. Not as much free safety, strong safety because of the way they play their will and sand. Both of your safeties are going to be able to play deeper, but they're going to be able to come down and play in the mix around the linebacker area as well.
Okay.
I would love to see the Edmonds kid that plays for the Steelers back in this crowd, because that kind of safety is going to be amazing. They could play well in coverage, play like a free safety, but doesn't mind coming down and hitting people as a strong safety. You go back in Virginia Tech's history, you find a lot of those. You find that kind of guy. You look at Cam Chancellor, who could rock anything, but he could play sideline to sideline as a safety.
Yep.
Pearson Prelude was the same way. I mean, you've got that history in safety, and now that guy's coaching those safeties.
So let me ask this: I know early in Bud's tenure, the corners swapped depending on where the ball was on the hash. Are the corners switching side, or are they switching responsibilities?
I think the corners are going to. It's hard to say right up front. In some cases, with Coach Pry, they've switched responsibilities. In some cases, he's had them switch sides. Marv has been more of a switch responsibility guy and not switching corners as much.
Okay.
You have this responsibility in the boundary, this responsibility in the field.
Gotcha.
Both of them had the tendency to flip the safeties.
Yeah. A little bit easier.
Be safety and a field safety.
Yep. A little bit easier to do without having to run sideline to sideline. Yeah.
So that'll give you more of a true strong safety, free safety look. But sometimes they'll leave the safeties and they flop the corners. It's just going to depend. But like I said, you're going to see in a nickel set, they're going to take that best corner and put them on that nickel and bring the number 3 corner in and put it on the outside receiver. In some cases. But going into the coverage wise, I think you're going to see a lot more zone coverage early. And because of that split coverage concepts that they like to run, it's going to be a lot more split coverage. So a lot more zone. And the zone is going to help them too with the blitzing packages and playing fast.
I'm going to can I ask a quick question, kind of a novice question here? You're talking about the safeties moving you talked about Terrell Edmonds, where you need do-it-alls. So for the safeties, are you almost looking like there's not going to be a strictly rover strong safety, strictly free safety? You're going to have maybe almost mirror image guys because of what he asked them to do because of how it rotates? Or is it always going to be one guy, maybe 6'2", 205, one guy, 6'3", 200, it's rangier?
I think you're going to, depending on who makes that call, and I think it depends on kind of how the recruiting goes.
Okay.
I think you could see a little bit of both. I think you could see one guy dominant. They're going to be a group that's going to use what's best available. And if the best available is a long rangey free safety, you're going to see those safeties flip. You're going to have the field safety and the boundary safety. If you have two guys that are so much alike and they can do both things, you may not see them flip. You may see them just switch responsibility, depending on which side the field is on. That's going to be the biggest thing with them. And the best part is with Coach Prelude is some people are going to doubt him at the beginning because if I'm correct, he's got a year or two coaching experience?
High school. He coached down at Radford High School for 2 years, and he's been player development.
Okay.
So a lot of people they question that hire because he had no real prior college coaching experience. Although the guy played in the NFL close to 14 years for numerous teams.
I'll tell you what. I'm a Washington fan. I've been a Virginia Tech fan for a long time. Pearson Prelude has been heralded. He played at Buffalo. He played in Washington. Those guys heralded him as a leader on the field, as a coach on the field. He always knew what was going on. 2 years of high school and 1 year in a college ranks of coaching. That cat's been coaching a long time. at 14 years in there. I know in Washington towards the end of his career, people talked about how he could guide and set up the secondary and help a lot of young players. He's been coaching players long before he started coaching. If you get what I'm saying.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he's going to understand, especially being back in the system that he played in and he knows. He's going to be able to provide the insight to what they're seeing, show them the things that he knows that he can see. Okay? I've always had college football players that coach at high school level. And it's the hardest thing in the world to get a college or professional level athlete to coach at a high school level. One thing, because they can do things that some kids can't do.
Yep.
And they have a hard time teaching it to the kids because the kid's not athletic enough to do it. He's going to be at a level now where he's going to be able to show kids that are as athletic as he ever was. And he can get them to do those things. He is in a great situation. So, I mean, with all of those, I think, you know, a lot of it's going to come with they're going to find the best 11 athletes put out there in those positions. And whether you're flipping or changing responsibilities is going to depend a lot on who pans out in those positions, is what I feel like.
Gotcha.
Good deal. Well, Robbie, you got a few videos there. I know some of them were from Tech Sideline. So show us a couple that you want to just kind of highlight to say, look for these plays. Like this is going to be a staple or a base.
Okay. Right here, this is from Penn State. You can see their basic alignment. You've got you've got your 5 technique over here and your 7, which is a little bit wider. There's just no tight end. You got your wheel dancing in. I think this might be against Ohio State.
Yeah, it is.
From before last is Justin Fields at quarterback. Yep. So you've got a phenomenal center and a phenomenal guard. You're going to get a big-time double team here on this 2-eye anyway. So might as well play him at the 2-eye, get it a little wider, make this center move over to work this double team, possibly give us a hole in here to work with. You can see the wheel walking up. The Sam's out of the picture over here. And then we've got our Mike in here. It's just your base. Okay, you're going to see them get the penetration. You're going to see the wheel drop back in. They didn't get to double team on this side, but you're starting to see here. Now, granted, this is several years into their program.
Yeah.
They're getting some twist. And as I said, with that twist, if you've got the 2-eye and the end coming in, there leaves this gap here. Okay? This is the thing that they're going to want to make sure that they're not doing early on. Okay? Now they've kind of figured it out. They know that they got 2 guys that can come in and fill it if Fields takes off. But there was no running back here to threaten that hole to start with. So twisting's not hurting them too bad. But you see how the mic takes on right here in the hole when he drops back and they close it in. Now the end's got to do better about getting across the face to really take away the gap in here to make sure Fields can't take off.
Mm-hmm.
But he's looking to throw it anyway. So it works out. Now, every defense I've ever coached, every defense that's ever been coached, you're going to have a hole somewhere. You're not going to be able to fill everything. So you got to put it in a place where it's not going to hurt you as much. They're just taking a chance with it there. He didn't send but 4 there. I think you're going to see 5 a lot. That's just, their base defensive look. You'll see right here at the end of the clip, you'll see the Sam over here dropping into the hole. They're coming across, the safety's coming down. They're playing deep, but, Ohio State's a team that likes to stretch a field pretty good. And so they're going to be playing a little bit deeper.
Yep. For those who are listening to this on the podcast, visit our YouTube site. You can actually see the videos Robbie's describing, pointing it out. Is there a blitz on there, Robbie? You can show maybe one of the staple blitzes that we should see this upcoming season.
Yeah, I can get. Well, I've got to go to the other article. One other thing I want to show you. You were asking earlier about the defensive ends and about their rushing and things. Here's one against Pitt. You'll see the defensive end. He comes in underneath, coming down hard, running right into it. He takes on this doggone ad is annoying. But you'll see him here. He comes in underneath the tight end or the tackle here.
Yeah.
And he takes on the pool where it should be kicking out, and it gives the Will Backer time to come in and attack it. So he gets right off the pool. It has to go around him.
Yeah, he makes the hump.
Disrupts a lot of things.
Yeah, he got underneath the down block and still was able to wrong arm the puller.
That's tough stuff to do there.
And you talk about that mesh point. Go back just a couple steps. We talked about mesh point earlier. That thing load. Watch when the number 6 comes off. Watch right here. He's not hesitating. He's going right for the quarterback. He does not break inside until he knows that ball's off. Like, so his ears are down. He's going to hit Kenny Pickett, right? If that is Kenny Pickett. Yep. He's going to hit.
It's got to be Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett played 5 years. It's got to be Kenny Pickett.
But watch that. You were talking about the mesh. Even though Kenny Pickett is not a threat to run in this situation, it would be more of a play action. Look at his angle. Robbie, you talked about it earlier. His angle is aimed at the quarterback. Once he sees it's a run, there's the hump, and he's right there to clean it up.
That's right. And I said, tight end to tackle. He's number 77, but he's the third man over.
Yep.
But he's technically in a tight end position. So we got the 7 technique. He's coming underneath it hard, and the wheel is coming over it. So, I mean, and the wheel's running right here, right at the back. This man right here is running right at the quarterback in that mesh point.
Yep.
And when he sees him, he forces him to hand it. He hits it right in the mouth, and that guy comes right through it.
Awesome. So again, go to our YouTube channel, see these. Let's get that blitz one up, Robbie. One more video. And then I've got one more question to ask you before we head to break. One more. Sorry, Brian.
You're good. I love your questions, man.
You know me. Let's see one of those blitzes. And what? We might as well say it's going to be a 2-hour episode.
If you pull this up, here's some of their coverage looks. This is their simple over cover. It's a cover 3. Like we said, there have the 2 safeties, but you're going to see that one safety come down underneath to help out. So you'll have the 4 underneath and the 3 deep. And it's just a simple over cover 3. You're going to get one of the safeties. Here it has the boundary safety and the field safety with the corners dropping. The field safety coming down, the boundary safety coming over. This one doesn't have the SAM quite as wide. Sometimes the SAM will be a little bit wider because you got a balanced set. You got the tight end opposite of there. If the tight end's on this side, you're more than likely going to have the SAM a little bit wider with the free safety over top of it. Mm-hmm. And you might get some opposite roll there. Then you got your over cover 2, where basically you're sending a corner and the safety into coverage and you're dropping 5 down underneath. But this one, we call it cover 6 too. They're running a cover 2 on one side, cover 4 on the other. So if you really think about it, cover 6, 4, and 2.
Yep,
that makes 6. We run at my high school. We're gonna man this guy up on the single receiver side and play the safety over top like a cover 1. On the other side, we're gonna play cover 4.
You can call it quarter half. You can call it cover 6.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're going to play. They're going to leave the man in the flat area here with the corner and let him go. It opens a hole for a quick pop through here. But, like I said, everything has a hole. You just have to find it. You have to be quick enough to find it in that place.
Yep. And when you talk about aggression, the fact that you're being aggressive means you're limiting the time that they have to find those holes.
Absolutely. When these 4 are here and one of these 2 guys, if not 2 of them, are running at your quarterback, you ain't thinking about that hole. You're thinking about the one that you got that's about to be split open her further. And that ain't fun.
There we go.
That's what I'm working on this year with our guys is we have to be able to get more pressure. And that's why we're going to run more of a 3, like a stack look, a 3-3. So I've got 6 guys that I know are going to fill holes, but I've got, 5 linebackers. You don't know which one's coming when. So offensive lines in high school are not very good. If they do it, are not very good at dual reading. And so blitz is coming from, one guy coming from this edge and one guy coming from the top over here.
Yep.
It's hard to read them. Somebody's going to get there. So,
the uncovered guy is not good at picking up both reads.
Yeah. Now, our head coach, he's an offensive line guru. We've got our kids dual reading amazingly. We gave up in our 10 games last year. We gave up 3 sacks in 10 games in a high school.
It's impressive.
That should tell you something.
That's impressive.
Now we're out of the gun and we're catching balls, throw the ball. We're not 5-step dropping. We're throwing things quick. We're throwing screens, hitches, that kind of thing. We're Tom Brady in this thing now. We don't want our quarterback getting hit. We're playing teams that are taking 5-step drops. I got to get a man down there and make him move around.
Okay.
So,
yep.
Some of the blitzes and stuff we see here.
Choose one. Choose one. Choose one that you like the most, or one you might use this year.
This I think is what you're going to see more of from Coach Pry and Coach Marv as a 5-man blitz. Doggone it. So as you see, you got they're overloaded. The tight ends here, tackles moved over. Doesn't change anything. You still go with your alignment. You got the 5 technique on the on the tight end. Keeps him from releasing hard. But we're not changing our alignment too much. If you see here, now we went to a shade and we went to the guy inside here instead of him being instead of him being a little wider. He's down inside. He's a tight 3 instead of being a little bit looser. And we've got the stand-up guy here. Well, we've brought the Sam in a little bit more. Now we've got that 4-3, maybe even a 3-4 look.
3-4 look.
This guy standing up just because of the way it's blitzing. It's the same personnel, though. This is still your wheel. Then you slide these guys over. You get the squeeze inside. You get it coming inside, and you get these guys coming in and around. And Mr. Pickett has a hard time getting away because he's old. Because he's been there since Marino left.
That's a safety blitz, isn't it? Because 36 comes in, right? Watch. He's waiting.
36 comes down.
Oh, no. It's a linebacker. That's a linebacker.
Yeah, 36 replaces the
36 comes
Sam.
in and replaces the linebacker.
Yeah, he replaces Sam.
What you have been talking about to us, Robbie, in that situation, they blitzed the linebacker, but the safety was coming down. And something you said that some Pearson Prelude did back in the 4 days. And it's probably going to happen now.
As this one comes over to leave that 3 over the top, and then they'll bring these linebackers. But even here, something told them to drop the wheel here in this situation to cover the hole over there. Probably because of the way they like to flood, as you can see with the guy in the back out. Yep. They flooded it, so they tried to take it away quick. They blitzed from the back. 5-man stuff.
And then you got numbers on that side because they were overloaded towards the flood. So you got too many guys to block on that tight end side.
One more.
Your 6-man blitz. They're bringing the 4, they're bringing the Sam, and they drop the rest of them. And he steps up, but there's nowhere to go because they plug your gaps up front.
Yep.
Stuffing everything in there. And so you got pressure coming from both edges.
They're plugging and pushing the gap.
Yep.
Against Michigan. And right there, got him.
Yep.
Good deal.
So,
all right.
Pressure's going to be big for him in a lot of situations.
Do you think we'll see even more pressure this year being you?
I think so.
Just one of those things where it's more attack. Don't sweat the back end, don't sweat the coverage, just attack.
Yeah. Because they're going to be so focused on stopping that run. They're going to be so focused on getting penetration up front and the linebackers coming and filling that it's going to turn into pressure situation. When they get that pressure, when they get that penetration, then they see a pass, you might see that Sam kind of back out of it a little bit. But if that wheel is taken off, that wheel's going. He might have to run it down from the back, but he's going to get things because they've already replaced him with that safety coming down. So you're going to see those 4 and 5 guys really going after the quarterback.
Good deal. Well, Robbie, we appreciate you going over this, diving, looking at tape, reading articles, using your own knowledge of Brent Pry's system to give us some more info. I'm going to shout out again Brandon Patterson over at TSL with those with the videos, with some of the drawings. I'm sure that made your life a lot easier than having to figure out how the hell I'm going to draw it. But what we're going to do right now is we are going to take a quick break from our digital partners, and we're going to come back, and it's going to be the big guy talking about the offense.
As we take a quick break, we'd like to tell you about getting your free website report from our digital partner, Grassroots Digital Marketing Studio. They'll tell you how your website ranks on Google, on-site SEO, and social media. No commitment to buy anything. You can get your free report by visiting grassrootsdigitalstudio.com/free-website-report. Now back to the episode.
All right, Brian. The show is yours, my friend. Let's start and take a look at Tyler Bowen's offense. Let's look at the scheme and the philosophies and the tendencies from your reading and reviewing of tape, what you're seeing from what we should see next year.
So based on everything that I've seen from calling back in Fordham, from calling the Penn State bowl game after Ricky Ronnie left, we're looking at a power smash mouth RPO system. Mostly going to be run out of shotgun. You're going to occasionally see some pistol. Use a lot of run to set up the play action, to set up that RPO. Like to take shots off the play action versus straight drops. Usually a straight drop is going to be more of an intermediate route as the primary, whereas if they're targeting deep down the field, it's going to be off those play actions. They do a solid mix of gap and zone blocking concepts, a handful of elements of their offense, but they deploy them a lot of different ways. So you don't have a ton of plays, but you have them deployed out of a lot of different formations, a lot of different looks, and they're not very screen heavy. They are in their arsenal. You'll see them run a handful of times a game. Usually it's going to be something that's like a swing out, sometimes part of a RPO, sometimes just a straight design screen, usually to the running back, sometimes to the tight end and to the slot. They love to attack the weak side of the formation, both in the run and the pass. And they do a lot of check with me, but not as exclusively as we saw with Brad Cornelson. It's a little more sporadic.
Every play check.
Yeah, it's not that heavy. It's definitely a little more sporadic, but depending on situation, depending on game flow, sometimes they'll go with it there. But usually when they're cooking, it's definitely no huddle, hurry up. They're trying to get the play in, get to the line, get it run, and keep that tempo moving.
Like philosophy wise, are we looking 50-50? Is this more, you call it a power? Say it again.
It's
Power.
power, smash mouth, RPO. Yeah.
Okay. 50-50. I hear power, smash mouth. I think running the ball. We gonna run the ball more or less?
You're definitely going to be north of that 50%. I think you're going to be close to like 55, 60.
Okay.
But it's going to be still fairly balanced. It's not going to be
Paul
super.
Johnson.
Yeah, you're not going to see you're not going to see it being that 65, 70%. But it's still going to be something that they lean on to set up the rest of their offense. In terms of personnel, I mean, we're looking at a lot of 11 and 12. They'll occasionally go with a 20 look, sometimes split with the quarterback, sometimes in a go-go set with twin running backs, either to the left or the right of the quarterback. Usually, the tight end is almost always on the field, and they're almost always either in a wing or split out flex. They're not in line unless they go trips. The tight end will line up in line opposite the trips, or if they bring in a second tight end when they go kind of an offset look with an H-back and an inline tight end. That's really the only time you see the tight end line up in line.
How often are we seeing two tight ends?
I'd say about 35% of the time you're going to see them in two tight end sets.
Okay.
Usually it's going to be one tight end. Like I said, they're either going to be in the wing or split out as that number 2 guy on the trip side. They will go unbalanced trips, so overload, and you'll see that look sometimes as well. Usually they like to run out of that, though.
All right, good deal. Well, let's start here. I got it documented, and if this is the direction I assume you want to go.
Yeah.
Based on who you are. And I also heard you talk about gap and zone. Obviously, they brought Rudolph in. Robbie, Robbie, you got your mic off, man. I don't think we can hear you.
What?
There you go.
I can hear you now.
I think when we all saw Rudolph as the name,
I'm not breathing very well, so I don't need you to hear me snoring while I'm awake.
When we all heard the Rudolph name, it was like big boy move. I mean,
it's like we're going back to running the football.
Yeah.
So let's
not
talk
just
about
running it because you're supposed to, but running it for a purpose.
Yep.
Running it to grind somebody down. So Brian, let's
running it with intention.
Exactly. Let's look at the O-line. Let's talk with the interior offensive line in the run game. What are we looking at with those 3 guys?
I mean, you're looking at a lot of, like I said, zone and gap scheme concepts. You need kind of balanced guys in the middle there. You need a center that's really smart, that's going to make those calls, makes those checks. You need guards that are athletic, that can pull, that can deliver a blow on the run, that can block some in space. They're not asked to do a ton of that. Most of the screens even, you don't necessarily have linemen leading out on those, but with the amount of pulls that we have, you definitely have to have linemen, especially guards, that can get around, get up at the second level, block a linebacker, and then do a lot of kickouts. So, especially with the guards there. So, occasionally you're going to see, the big thing for the guards, especially when you're pulling on some of these RPOs, got to be aware of depth. That's one thing. I know we ran some RPO in Corn system. This is a lot heavier. It's RPO probably 65, 70% of the time. There's going to be some RPO element out there when there's a run call. So linemen got to be aware of their depth, especially on those gap scheme RPOs where you got linemen pulling across the formation.
All right. What about tackles and run game? What are we looking at there? Because, we did 2 years ago have one of the better tackles in the entire country who proved his worth this year with the Vikings. What are we looking at tackle-wise doing in the run game?
So tackles are going to also need to be a little bit more balanced because the tackles are going to be asked to do a lot more in the pull game as well. So they don't pull quite as much as the guards, but they are pulling a lot. They're kicking. They're wrapping on the dart play, the power dart. So there's a lot of different things that they have to do, but they also have to be able to have good bend, be quick to be able to stop those speed rushes and guys that are getting low around the edge.
What's the mix that you are seeing between that zone and power? Because I think that's going to be Wisconsin. To me, did it so beautifully. Like they'd be pulling a guard like on a pin and pull, and then the next thing you know, they're running some zone play where it's like an outside zone, and you're like, it's impressive that a coach can teach both techniques and both techniques be really good. But what are you foreseeing with Bowen? I mean, he's got a guy at his disposal where the guy can teach kids how to do it. But is it going to be a 50-50, or do you think we're going to lean one way or the other?
So looking at the games that Bowen called, he really kind of goes by feel of it and how the defense is handling one or the other. So I'll talk about it later, but just an example in the bowl game that against Memphis in the Cotton Bowl in 2019 when he was calling plays, early on there was a lot of the more gap-oriented calls. Memphis was doing a pretty good job at those. Early second quarter, he started adjusting a lot more of the zone run calls, more success. Started popping off some big runs with Journey Brown and a couple, Noah Kane had a couple big runs in that game. So, he definitely, it's a flow thing, and he was able to adjust pretty quickly to what Memphis was doing and kind of find a fit in the run game because they really do want to lean on the run and let the run set up what they like to do in the passing game, both in the RPO and the drop back.
I know with our guys, even at the high school level, I mean, we were just talking about it tonight with our other coaches, that we have our trap, counter, and power, our gap plays, our hard power plays. Then we have our inside zone, our outside zone, and our stretch looks that are all zone looks. Mm-hmm. And what we're doing is we're looking at what the defense is giving us. If they're stacking guys, then it makes their zones real easy. If you stack, you can and that those athletic guards help that. Regardless of their size, they can push back, climb to the next level while a man takes over. We call it scoops and slips.
Yep.
We can hit those up. But if you get a defense kind of like what I expect Tech to be running, where it's spreading out that front, it might be a little bit easier to kick out. You find that 3 and 7, and it gives you more space on that side. You can really pin and pull and take advantages and stuff. Yep. So having both of those in there is going to be, I think it'll be great to see again.
It lets you pick your poison a little bit, and you can kind of feel how are they working for you? How are they trying to attack your line and kind of adjust accordingly? It gives you a little bit more of an option where you're not kind of locked into, all right, well, I've got to run inside, outside zone all day. That's my bread and butter. If that's not working, I'm going to have a long day.
And as a defensive coach, we see a lot now. A lot of teams are going to zone with their RPOs because it gets such a hard flow going one way, and then they can pop it back to the backside. Well, if you got a team that's spread out, that's not going so hard with that flow, they keep that player that can help them on the backside, then it takes some of that RPO away. Well, why not go ahead and take advantage of it and run that hard gap, pound it right in there, and power them with it.
Yep.
So, I mean, to have both of them at your exposure, we have a hard time with it being able to prepare for both. But, I mean, we're going to see teams that are going to do a lot of that zone and RPO. That's why we're stacking guys up.
Yep.
And it gives us the guys out of the edge that we can take away some of it.
Well,
And what'd you going to say, Curtis?
I just find it refreshing that he, after one quarter, made that quick adjustment, because a lot of coaches would continue to sit and say, this is eventually going to work, where 15 minutes go by, you're not having much success. This was our initial game plan. And I'm sure them going against Memphis, the thought was, we're probably bigger than them. So running the gaps, we're going to be able to push them around. Obviously, Ryan was coaching at that point, wasn't he? He was the interim head coach, right? Or no, he wasn't. Your old coach from Sydney.
Yeah, he was the interim head coach. That was his first game as a coach, as head coach.
So he had that thought of take that away, but Bowen, instead of hesitating, changes gears. I'm going zone, and then the next thing you know, I know they scored 50-plus points, was impressive in that game.
Well, the big thing, so they had one touchdown in the first quarter. That came kind of late in the first quarter. Went into halftime with 35 points.
There you go. All right, Brian, I'm going to let you run through this. Pass game sets for the entire offensive line. What are we seeing inside and outside?
So one thing that I like, and, we talk about this, is that we've got the play action, we've got the RPO. That takes a lot of the pin their ears back moments for the defense. You don't necessarily have a ton of that because you're not a team. Straight drops are probably about 50% of the pass plays they have. The rest are either off play action or off RPO in some way. And I'd say it probably tends on the higher side of that 50% that are RPOs or play actions. You're not having a ton of straight drops where you're having your tackles have to bend, kick, and make sure that they're not getting those edge rushes for those ears pinned back defensive ends. So that helps a little bit to take some pressure off the offensive line for those speed rushes. A lot of 3-step drops. You're looking at slide protection, get ball out of the hands quick when it's not some sort of RPO or play action in there. Like I said earlier, the center's got to make a lot of these checks at the line of scrimmage. You see the center communicating with the rest of the offensive line, whether it's, various checks depending on what type of pre-snap look the defense is giving. And as we talked about a little bit earlier, we got uncovered linemen. They've got dual reads on those straight drops. So they've got to read multiple linebackers if they're the uncovered guy.
Got it. There are three things that are going to slow a defense down. Moving the quarterback out of the pocket right from the start. Roll out, sprint out. Screens, which you've already said that screens are going to be limited. And then that quick step RPO pop, I mean, it's going to help protect that quarterback. Yeah. That's a thing.
A lot of the RPOs they like to do is kind of pressuring the defense inside and outside. So the run is stressing them inside, whereas they've got, like, on a lot of them when they run to the trip side, they've got the slot receiver, the inside slot is kind of backpedaling parallel to the line of scrimmage, and you got the two wide guys going up to block. So, if you commit another guy to the box to stop the run, you're going to be vulnerable out there to the RPO. If you're keying on the RPO, you got another man that's not in the box to help with the run there. So it kind of widens the area that the defense has to cover on a given play. So that puts a lot of stress on the defense, and it makes it so they can't just pin their ears back as well. So, yeah, I mean that's really it for the offensive line in terms of the pass protection. When we looked at the running game, we already talked about all the pulls and things from the guard and the tackle perspective there.
All right. Well, let's kick over to quarterbacks because Robbie made a good point about having a mobile, moving the quarterback around. I don't think we will ever see as much running as we did with the quarterback last year. But how many times – I don't think we're going to have a stationary quarterback either. What is Bowen showing? I mean, are we running just a handful of times? Is it just broken scrambles? What are you seeing from the run game as far as the quarterback goes?
In terms of like kind of design runs or runs based off reads, you're looking at about 10, maybe 12 carries a game for the quarterback. This isn't a position where you have to have the quarterback be successful in the run game for the run game to be successful. The quarterback needs to be athletic, but we don't need elite athleticism. We need the threat, the potential threat that quarterback can get some yards, can get some first downs, maybe occasionally, bust a 20-plus yarder if the circumstances are right. But these are more kind of move the pocket type things and give the defense something else to think about. They're not wrapping the strength of the running game around what the quarterback's able to do on the ground.
I got you. So it's more one of those things where I don't want to say it's like show, like it's just for show, but it's just when you think you've figured out all of our things, he's going to pull it, he's going to run for 5 yards. Now, Robbie, what do you have to do in that case? I'm moving my linebacker.
It's a keep a defense honest kind of thing.
Yeah.
We can't just key on hit the running back. Because the minute we start going after that, forget the mesh point, hit the running back, the quarterback's going to pull it out, take it around the edge where there's nobody responsible for it.
And the RPO adds another element to that because a lot of times there's 2 reads if the quarterback tries to keep it. If the quarterback keeps it, he's still got potentially the ability to throw out there on the RPO on top of the option to keep it and get upfield himself. But the big thing for the quarterback, the most important thing for them is to be able to quickly diagnose what the defense is giving them at that mesh point and get them in situations where they can maximize those defensive mismatches.
Good deal. All right, let's kind of talk about the passing game. And now we're not going to get into the specifics of what type of passes. And you've already said it with the run game. The guy's got to have some athleticism. But are we looking for athleticism with a big cannon, or is accuracy more important in Bowen's offense?
Accuracy is absolutely more important than a cannon, but you need a quarterback that can still make all the throws and stretch the defense when necessary.
Okay.
But the most important thing, again, just like in the running game, being able to maximize yardage with those RPO reads and get the ball in the hands of where they've got mismatches with their athletes in space. And a lot of times that leads to missed tackles and big plays. So even when it's not a situation where, the guy's wide open or the guy's running completely free, you're putting the defense out on the island where a good move here or there, and all of a sudden a 5-yard gain turns into a 20 or 30-yard gain because of one missed tackle.
From what you saw, is it 2 to 3 seconds getting rid of the ball, or is it more 3 to 5?
It really kind of depends on the play. Like I said, the ability to make quick and accurate throws in the short passing game is important because that's where a majority of the RPO elements are in the offense. And they've got to be able to throw on the run and not just on those sprint outs or rolls like Robbie was talking about. But a lot of times with the RPO, once they make that mesh, they're sometimes moving, kind of towards where that RPO is designed to go. So they've got to be able to throw accurately on the run there. Like I said, they got to be able to push the ball downfield. That's usually going to be off of play action. Usually when you see those deep shots, those are coming off of straight play action, not necessarily RPOs. And I think the bigger thing is that we need a quarterback that's not afraid to test the defense in the middle of the field, because a lot of the primary routes are going to be plays going over the middle of the field. You're going to have to be able to make some throws there when there's a little bit of traffic, a little bit of mess. You're gonna have to be able to make those throws.
You got to have a special kind of guy that'll go across that middle and catch that thing too.
All right, well, let's talk about it, because something that's been kind of mentioned is this is going to be a heavy tight end. Obviously, y'all talked about Benji Gosnell. Some people project him at tight end. You've got Jermaine. You've got Daquan Wright. You've got Drake DeLewis already on the roster. You've got Eric Gallo on the roster. You've got Gibble on the roster. We've already got a crap ton of tight ends. You have mentioned they're not in line enough. They're a lot spread, H-back position. So what are their responsibilities in the run game if they're not a lot of inline?
So on a lot of the zone plays, they're either kind of double teaming on the end up to the next level, or they've got kind of a split zone where they're blocking back against the field against the play towards the defensive end on the backside. So they'll pull some. They will again go in motion pre-snap to get themselves aligned for the split zone. They will. My favorite play, and I'll show some video a little bit later. One of the plays that Bowen likes is kind of an ISO with the tight end in the wing, kind of going in B gap and up to the mic to get a block on the mic there. That's one of my favorite plays to watch them do. Always a good collision. Usually got some pretty good yards on it. So like watching that. But that's pretty much the primary responsibilities for them in the running game. Now, if they're outside, flexed out, they're usually in that 2 spot to the trip side, unless they're going 2x2, in which case they're double wings usually. But in those cases, they're kind of stalk blocking just like a normal wide receiver would.
There's 2 guys going to block at one backer. That's cheating.
It's ISO.
Where's the flag? What are you trying to say? Chop block?
They use 2 to block 1. They can't do that.
All right,
Brian and I both know as offensive linemen, 30 flag on holding. It's called holding. You're probably right. Offensive lineman hold.
There's a couple times where I debated that fact. If you're not throwing the flag every play, it better damn well be egregious if I'm holding.
You throw it every play on us. We teach our linemen to hold.
Listen, you have to hold. Is that the rule? Like, you just have to hold. Why?
If you're not holding, you're not trying, man.
Right. If you've made it to the number on the shoulder pads, you went too far. If it's still down on the number on the chest, you're golden. Keep holding, baby.
That's right.
All right. Well,
they use the tight ends. Oh, well, you would say something about the tight ends in the passing game?
I was going to say, let's talk about the tight end in the passing game, because with Bowen being up at Penn State, he had 2 studs. I mean, Gesicki and Freiermuth are studs. Gesicki, I've drafted numerous times in fantasy, got rid of him numerous times in fantasy, but he has helped out, and Freiermuth helped out this year. What are we seeing in the pass game, and can Gallo and Drake especially, jump into that role this year?
Yeah, I think they can, and I'll tell you the big reason why I think they can is that a lot of what they do is what those 2 guys were both doing when James Mitchell was still on the field.
Okay.
So there's going to be a lot of opportunities for them to work from the wing, split out a little bit and run, some hitches, some seams. But primarily what they're running is the seam. They're running some quick outs, and then they're either the drags and shallow crosses. That's really the bread and butter, and you see that a lot, especially when I was watching Freiermuth. I mean, he does such a good job after the catch, and I think that a guy like Gallo could potentially turn into something like that, where he gets some quality yards after the catch, just because he's got a little bit of that bigger body that can absorb some of those hits kind of after the catch.
So it sounds like he goes simplistic, right? Simplistic. I'm not going to try to overthink and do a ton with my tight ends in the passing game. I'm using it very basic. But what we're doing at the run game and other things, if these guys can get the ball in their hands, there's going to be space there. And does he factor in, is it mismatches? Is he getting good matchups because of the alignments?
Well, it's mismatches, but sometimes it's just, those underneath routes, there's a little bit more space sometimes to work from the line of scrimmage there. And that gives them a little bit of an opportunity to get some run after the catch. So Freiermuth, like I said, in particular, I saw a bunch of opportunities where he caught the ball at about 4 or 5 yards and turned it into a 15 or 20 yard gain just because of one missed tackle. And he had that athleticism to kind of accelerate, not quite wide receiver speed, but good enough to run away from some of those interior guys.
Run away from the bigger guys and over the smaller guys.
There we go.
All right. Now I'm going to just keep going down and we'll eventually get to the tape. So let's talk about the wide receivers, because from what you're telling us here, tight ends are on the field a lot.
Yep.
Right? Tight ends are on the field a lot.
There's almost always at least one tight end on the field.
And then 30%.
But they have to be able to line up at the wing, in line,
everywhere.
opposite trips, and then when they go trips with the tight end to the trip side, he's usually the number 2 guy.
But then you're also telling us that about 30, you saw it about every third play, you're going to get 2 tight ends. So obviously, you have a 10-play drive, you're looking at probably 2 tight ends 4 times versus having, 3 wides, more or less. But what are the tight ends doing? Let's talk about them in the pass game first. What's kind of their route tree? Do we have a full route tree, or is it like it used to be?
Talking about the wide receivers or the tight ends?
Wide receivers.
So the way they kind of structure their wide receivers is a little bit similar to what Robbie was talking about earlier. A lot of the exterior guys are more – you got one side that's usually more of a stick mover, one guy that's a little bit more of a burner. They usually put that guy on the same side with the slot receiver. And the slot receiver is the guy that really runs the full complement of the route tree and can take advantage of a lot of mismatches in the middle of the field. Also has a lot more room to work just because you can run a lot of stuff out that's got space to run those outs. You got space to run those corners, but you can also run the post. You could run the dig. The real full route tree is available to the slot receiver, and that's the guy that's usually the primary target on most of these pass plays.
All right, that's your primary target. So reality is you're going to have a speedster on the outside, Jaden Payute, right?
Yep.
Who's our wide this year? Is it Jaden Blue? Do you think
I think Jaden Blue is going to be your X. He's going to be the primary stick mover. I think your Z is going to be Payute. He's going to be a burner, and then I think you're going to put Lofton at the slot and let him do a little bit of everything.
All right, but full complement route tree and just more specifics, right? So essentially, Robbie, what does that do when you have somebody like Jaden Payute, who's a 4-4 guy who can just run by the defense? What does that do to the rest of the field as you shake your head?
Man, you've got to have that corner that's got a mindset now. He's either got a mindset of I can run with him every step and I don't care, I can cover him downfield, or I know this cat's faster than I am and I've got to be as physical as possible and knock his timing off as quickly as I can. You see it every day. You see it all the time in the NFL. You get teams that take these big physical wide receivers like DK Metcalf and say, okay, bring your little 5'10" corner and see if he can do anything with it. And some of them take Tyreek Hill and go, keep up with him if you can. I mean, it's a pick your poison.
What does it make you do with the safeties, though? Because in that case, I mean, I know you have confidence in your players, but there are sometimes I know you think you're fast, but I got to give you some help. What does that start doing to the alignment? Because from what I'm hearing, Brian, is you're going to have the stick mover on the outside and you've got a guy going downfield. The slot guy is going to do everything. So it sounds like it's essentially what Tyler Bowen's trying to do is he's trying to manipulate the middle of the field to get his tight ends open and to let that slot kind of run havoc and do whatever.
The slot gets to cook. The tight end kind of gets to work where those holes are, and then the outside guys are kind of your outlets to move the sticks if nothing else is there.
You're creating mismatches, not man to man, but space areas. You're putting guys on a bind because you got that burner down the side that's taking that corner. Or if you're playing a cover 2, the corner is going to sit and take away something underneath. Okay? Then you got that safety playing really deep, stretching that field. Now, all of a sudden, you got the tight end and the slot. The tight end's running the drag, and the slot's running this, dig over the top. Well, that linebacker now, he's got to decide, do I come down to the drag or do I stay back on the dig because I know the safety had to help over the top. Well, you put that linebacker on the back. He's not great at coverage anyway, so he's not going to make the best decision a lot of times. I mean, it's tough. We talked about it here. One of our best plays, we bring our outside receiver and replace the nearest linebacker. Okay, we call it a stick. We take our slot and run him in a corner. And then we take our back to the same side, run a bubble. Okay, so you got a stick. You've got a guy coming in, almost like an RPO, running in, replacing the linebacker. And you've got the running back running out. Well, his coverage part is in that flats area. So if he goes out to the running back, you got a free guy from the outside coming in right there to the hash, taking the ball from you. If you stay right there, we'll throw the bubble because the corner dropped with the corner route going to the back. So he's got 12 yards before anybody's ever going to get to him.
Yep.
If we play cover 2 and the safety comes down to it, the corner comes down to it, the safety's got to go all the way to the corner of the field to catch that ball running the corner from the slot man. It's the hardest thing in the world. We haven't stopped it in practice yet. I've been doing this
for kind of what I'm hearing from both of y'all is the way Bowen's offense is set up is it's not misdirection or anything like that. It's essentially a spacing game.
Yes.
I mean, it's essentially it's almost chess in a way to say, this is what I'm doing with my pieces. You have to pick your poison. I'm going to get somebody open. It might be short, but you have to tackle them. And your guy has to choose the right spot.
It may be short, but where's the next guy that's going to tackle it?
Exactly.
Yards after the carry.
All right.
And the wide receivers are big in the running game too. I mean, especially those outside guys, because they're going to have primary responsibilities on a lot of these RPOs where they're the primary blocker to kind of spring that RPO for more than just a 2 or 3 yard gain.
All right.
So that's going to be big for them. They also have some responsibilities on some of the walling some backers on some of the run plays, and obviously some runoff and decoy looks on run plays. But primarily it's going to be that stalk blocking type technique.
RPOs, man. When teams get so heavy into those RPOs, you get linebackers who are normally coming from their depth and colliding those receivers as they come across. Now all of a sudden they're slowing down because that ball may be thrown really quick, and they have to try to break down and tackle a more athletic individual.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now all of a sudden they're slowing down. This guy's coming in. He's going up. Here comes an RPO, but he's not RPOing. The ball's going to break out to the side. Now he's got an easy block because that guy's not running full speed through him. All he's got to do is get in his way. He doesn't have to kill him. He's just got to make him go around.
Yep.
It slows that flow down and gives it. It's a lot harder to move sideways, change the direction, and then go tackle when a running back's running full speed already.
Yep. And some of these route combinations are designed for like those picks and rubs, and some of them are just as we talked about, some of that spacing where you're trying to get guys where you got to pick your poison because you're on an island and you got 2 guys coming into your area.
Good deal. All right,
but
let's wrap up the last position group, Brian.
Yep.
Now I'm going to ask you this before you jump into it. Who do you think is the starting running back game 1?
If I had to put my money on somebody, I think it'd be Kenji Christian.
All right, not Malachi. Not the guy that had a good season.
I think Malachi will be heavily featured. Looking at Bowen, he was using 3 running backs with a ton of carries. So 3 guys are going to get significant totes. Just in the bowl game, we saw, I think it was Ricky Slade had some carries along with Noah Kane and Journey Brown. So you had 3 guys that were probably around close to 10 or 10 or more carries in that game. So there's going to be plenty of opportunities for a handful of guys to eat. And you don't necessarily need to lean on a primary back. in this type of offense.
Taylor, so might as well give everybody some.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'll take Jonathan Taylor if they can find one.
Yeah, if we can find a Jonathan Taylor, absolutely give him 20 carries a game. But short of that, especially with what we know we're rolling with more or less on this roster going into 22, I'm sorry, 22, there's going to be opportunities for about 2 or 3 guys to get 8 to 10 carries a game.
All right. It's good to know that, but it's also what you just talk about Jonathan Taylor, because at Fordham, he had Chase Edmonds. He found that kid somewhere and had him play at Fordham and got that kid to be drafted in the 4th round.
And he was still splitting carries, even with Chase there. There was like another
yards.
There was another running back that still probably had 8 to 10 carries a game when you had a Chase Edmonds on your field playing at an FCS level. So there's still some opportunities out there for carries, even when you do have that kind of elite player on your roster. So there's going to be 2 to 3 guys that are going to get some significant opportunities here. So I don't think Malachi Combis not being 1A is necessarily a slight to him. I just think Kenji Christian's skill set probably matches what we're trying to do on offense a little bit more than Malachi. Obviously, with the caveat being that Kenji Christian picks up the elements of the offense in time for fall.
I tell you, if I the thought of hearing you say that there could be 2 or 3 guys getting 10 carries apiece, and the quarterback could possibly get 8 carries. I mean, I'm not a math magician. 3 players getting 10 and a quarterback getting 8. That's 38 balls run in a game. I'll take that.
The defensive coach likes this.
He likes it. Yeah, and I mean, the reason I say this about Kenji, I mean, I think a running back that's going to have success in this system, they got to have versatility. They got to have good patience. They got to have a good mesh relationship with the quarterback. Obviously, Malachi probably has the advantage there, just because he's had more on the field. I know we're not returning every quarterback he's taken snaps with this season, but we are returning a quarterback he's taken snaps with this season. So, I think he probably has a little bit of a leg up there. When we talk about zone plays, we talk about bang, bend, or bounce. So bang, you're going right at the aiming point, right? Bend, you're bending it back. It's that cutback lane. Bounce, you're bouncing it outside. I think Kenji probably has the best ability to do those 3 things well.
Okay.
Whereas Malachi, I think, is more of a bang and maybe a little bit of a bend, but I don't know if he's quite got the bounce. And, you must have acceleration to get through those holes when they open up. And I think Kenji probably has the best combination of that as well.
All right.
That bang and bend will go into your gap scheme pretty well, too.
Yep.
So.
All right. How much passing is it? I mean, I felt like the old regime, it was non-existent. I felt like Loeffler before that, non-existent. And even Frank's years, it was not, way up there. Is it? Are we going to see it more or less?
You have to catch the ball if you want to play running back in this system. And it's not just screens. They're using the running back a lot, split out into when they go empty, the running back staying on the field. He's going out into the slot to the single side opposite the trips. He is catching balls on kind of swings out of the backfield, or they're putting him in motion, catching some swing passes. Got to be able to get some extra yards off those too, because there's usually going to be one guy you're going to have to make miss in that open field. So, got to be able to catch, got to be able to make guys miss in the open field.
So it sounds to me like it's going to be a lot closer to what we're seeing more in the pros now, rather than the what most people look at as a spread college running back, quarterback go. The kind of old school Lamar Jackson kind of stuff.
Yeah, it like I said, it's smash mouth RPO, but they still use the running back outside of the tackle box there to catch the ball. And like I said, it's not almost exclusively not on necessarily traditional screens. It's more of those quick swings, or like I said, splitting the back out pre-snap and letting him run a slant or a hitch or something like that to get him the ball quick and let him make some guys miss.
Yep.
Awesome to hear, man. Y'all have both got me completely jacked about this season. We're going 12-0 now.
Well, we got some plays to run through. I'm gonna talk through some of the plays to expect, man. You gotta get hype about this.
I'm excited about your defense. I'm telling you. But we got to make sure that the right ones are there. I feel real good about one in the Mike linebacker. And I feel like that they're going to do a great job in putting the right guys in the right places.
Awesome. Well, let's take a look at the videos.
Work in progress.
Yep. I'm going to talk through some plays first, and as we get to ones I've got video on, I'll pull that up. So, like, I'm gonna run through plays in terms of usage and kind of, you know, them being the bread and butter of the offense, and then we'll kind of look at some videos as we go through things that I think most of the audience is familiar with. I didn't pull video for, so for example, I'm starting here with the inside zone read and zone RPO. I don't really need to show you a ton about that. You guys kind of seen variations of that we've ran the last couple of years with Cornelson. There's a little bit of a different action in terms of how they get the ball out to the receivers, but the basic concepts are the same. The reads are the same. Same with the wide zone read and RPO. That's kind of the outside zone look there. So same type of deal. They run a dive RPO, but the first one I'm going to show a video on is the split zone read and then the RPO that they run off of that. So let me get that queued up here for us.
All right. And again, for those listening on the podcast, head over to YouTube to see these videos. We do have a YouTube account, Boundary Corner Podcast. Subscribe. Right, this is some Oregon tape here.
Yep. So this is Oregon. So just a disclaimer of what I did here with the tape. Since we don't have a ton of video of Bowen calling plays at the Power 5 level outside of one game, what I've done here is looked at all the games where he has called plays and cross-referenced those with Joe Moorhead tape that's been cut up significantly on the web, and it's available here. So first play here is with Oregon. It's the split zone. It's going to show you actually 3 different variations here. So let's take a look. So in this, you got the tight end split out wide, flexed initially, comes into the wing, comes across the formation. And this is actually the RPO setup here. So notice that he didn't actually block anyone.
No, he went right through the guy.
Yeah. So what normally would happen here is that the tight end's going to kick that backside defensive end. But they run an RPO off of this where they kind of leak the tight end into the flat. So it kind of gives the outside linebacker, puts him on an island if the quarterback decides to keep it here. In this case, it's a give, but let's watch it here. But if the quarterback had kept here, you see you got the quarterback coming out with the ball. Quarterback will be coming out with the ball. You got the tight end out there, so you got a little bit of a dual read for whoever the odd man is here. But again, in this case, they gave it to the running back. It's about a nice touchdown there.
The blitzer coming in there probably made him read the give.
Yep. Here's another look at it here.
Well, look at that. Look at the difference in the splits where the linebackers are. He brings them in right here. Takes 2 steps.
Yeah, he saw 2 guys blitzing on that side. He knew that he had numbers with the running back in the middle there. They had numbers blocking in the middle, so good job given there. All right.
And that's one of the base run inside zones, right? You call it split zone, but it's
a split. It's an inside zone. Just the concept is split because you got the tight end moving backside. When it's RPO, he's leaking. If it's just straight split zone, he'd be kicking out the backside DN.
All right. What's the next one?
If they'd have been running a more true zone instead of the split, he'd have been reading the other side in.
Yep.
When back's going one way and the quarterback would be going opposite.
Exactly. Yep.
That same side is a lot harder on a defense.
All right. So, again, the next one I've already talked about a little bit is the ISO RPO. That's tight end going in that B gap, knocking the piss out of that Mike linebacker.
Let's see it.
I don't have a video of that one.
Oh,
I was just talking about that as one of the key plays here.
When I play off the line, it's an amazing thing to see. When I got to coach that linebacker to take on two guys and let somebody fill in behind it, they do not like that sound of that.
No, they do not. All right, so the next one, we're going to have fun with this one. So it's the duo. It's a lot of times called power without a pull. So it's essentially power scheme. You just don't have the pulling guard wrapping there. So let me pull that one up, and we will take a look at that.
Power without a pull just sounds like it shouldn't work.
You're right.
But you know what it does.
All right.
Efforting.
It's playing. It's just in slow motion.
Oh, okay. We can't see it.
Oh, hang on.
Let's say.
There we go.
Where is it?
Let's run it back.
Temple. Oh, Lord, they just wipe everybody clear.
So it's a lot of downs, the tight end's kicking, and then you're essentially asking the running back, in this case, to make that one backer miss in the hole. You got a good opportunity here.
In this situation, Temple takes herself out of it because the blitzing backer here goes all opposite side anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody ever touches it.
Yeah, the strong safety is the only player that can make a play here.
44 runs himself into the wash.
Yep.
But I see what you're talking about. It's a power because everybody's going one direction and flattening out, right?
Yeah. So normally on a power, it's down and then wrap.
Right.
Yeah.
And in this case, there's no wrap. It's just down, and then the tight end is walling the play side DN.
Yeah, normally that guard or tackle, somebody's coming up on the backer.
Yep.
But the backer set itself into the wash right there.
There should have been like a double team, like a down double team somewhere in the middle there, and the backer just took himself out of it.
And that just seems like a very basic play right there. Just very simplistic, nothing fancy, not a lot of eye candy. Just go out there, block, turn the guys. In the running back.
It's definitely more old school. It's that old school, a little more smash mouth type play. We'll also see things that we're familiar with. You'll see a counter sweep. They'll run that with the running back and the quarterback. They'll run that kind of pin pull, that kind of buck sweep or quarterback sweep as well.
I have to plug in.
Yeah, you're good.
Completely.
We also have the return of the power read or the inverted veer, but there is variances that we will run out of this.
Okay.
And there is some RPO elements that are added into that. But the next video I'm going to show you is the power dart RPO. So let me get that pulled up for you.
This is the one you talked about that you said, look at this. Because something Brian mentioned to me just a little earlier was, we don't have a ton of run plays, but the way they counter it is multiple formations and multiple ways to block those run plays, correct?
Well, yeah, that, and also pretty much every run play can have an RPO element to it. It's not always called that way.
Okay.
So you're essentially, anytime you have a running play, you're going to at least be able to run it 4 different ways out of the same formation. Left, right, straight, left, right, RPO. And then you're going to have different formations that some of these plays will work equally well out of. So you get a lot of different looks, even though you technically only have, a handful of concepts, right? So you got about 8 or 10 run concepts, but those are deployed in a lot of different ways.
Good deal. And this is called power dart.
Yeah, power dart, and then there's RPO off of that.
All right.
So we got a tackle pull, reading the outside linebacker. In this case, they gave it. Got a pretty good gain there. We'll see it from a different angle here.
This is closer to
Here's a little different action with the running back here, but the same play design.
Well, it's also where they're doing it. They just did that one at like the 40, and then the next one it's inside the goal line.
Yep.
Kind of showing the variation where it can be done at any point on the field. And this is now midfield.
Yeah, and here's where we're going to get a throw out of this, because you got the linebacker kind of sneaks inside, catches a peek, and now you got a big wide open lane to throw it to the wide receiver.
Little slot seam.
Yep.
He took 3 steps
kind of a little skinny post, there. Yeah.
But one thing you'll notice there defensively, all 3 plays, same play, but different alignment by the running back and a different way they took the steps to do it. All put different players on the bind.
Yep.
He came in right there and went across for the thing, so it pulled that guy down in case the quarterback came up. Quarterback came up to run. That guy had to come down to take the quarterback, so then he could drop it easily over top. The same thing on the very first play was they had that running back cross the quarterback. So you always, anytime a running back crosses the quarterback as a defense, I have to have somebody there for the quarterback in case he pulls it and takes off. Well, the one there where he stepped to the quarterback, got the ball, and went up, we're not worried about the quarterback at that point. We got to attack the running back inside.
Yep.
And he cut right back in. So it's putting different people in the bind. It's some tough stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you're showing essentially, I mean, it's the same play, but you're showing a little different window dressing that's causing some of those backers to flow differently from the start of the snap, and then all of a sudden
a lot of the same formation, but just where the back goes to.
Yep, exactly. So, I mean, some other plays that are, staples of the offense, freeze option. When they run that, they usually run it out of pistol, but the initial look of it looks like pistol inside zone. And so you get a little bit of a hesitation from those linebackers flowing outside the tackle box. So once they start that option, that freeze option where they're getting wide of the tackle box, it really gives the opportunity for the quarterback to make a good read, and it gives a lot more opportunity for the quarterback to potentially keep there if those linebackers haven't flowed back over the top of the DN there. So that was effective on a handful of plays I saw. The next one is one I really like because it's something that we actually ran at Hampden-Sydney a lot, but they've added some RPO elements to it. It's the shovel RPO. So let me get that queued up here for us.
Shovel. We run that similar to that option here. And you run it limited times, it's very effective.
All right, here we go.
This is the trips you talked about, trips, inline tight end.
Yep. So, let's run that back and take a look at that. So you got inline tight end at the bottom, trips to the top, running back offset to the tight end side. And, again, here it's going to be optioning they're really putting that D in on the island.
Putting the D in on an island, also giving.
But look at the RPO element. Watch the inside on the trips.
Pop it out to him right there.
Yep. Yeah. So if you run it back here, if the DN doesn't come up field, doesn't fly up field, he just kind of sits. You're going to throw it out there to that slot receiver, and he's got some room and space to make something happen there as well. So
that's almost like the what is it, the West Coast, what is it, the hard bootleg with the tight end crossing. Y'all know what I'm talking? Nah.
I'm sorry, I was watching the video. What did you say?
Yeah, run it back.
What I was saying is, you ever seen West Coast offenses like the Shanahan offense when he runs that stretch, but it's a rollout where the tight end's crossing?
Yeah.
It's kind of similar to that concept of if you bite down, it's going to be a very easy pass. The defensive end bit down in that case. So as soon as he bit down, it's an easy decision for the quarterback. Flip it right inside. If we see the way it was blocked on the inside, they are turning those guys out. It was like, let the defensive end rush. You made the point. Yeah. Both made the point. If he stays clear, it's going to be tough to make that shovel. He's going to be right there to make the play. But you're going to have the guy going out to the flats, and it's only two guys up top.
Yep.
So it's a 3-on-2 concept where if he makes the catch and he turns, somebody's got to get off blocks, or somebody's got to come from the opposite side of the field to make the play.
Well, yeah. Robbie, I know can speak to this. The one downside of the shovel is that if the defensive end doesn't fly up field, you pretty much have to toss it in the dirt.
Yeah.
With this, you have another option. Right?
We run – absolutely. We run something very similar to this, but instead of the back leading up with a shovel like that, we take our slot, and he goes up to 7 and out, and they're running back. We fake it there. If the back comes down to the running back, we throw it out there now. If he widens, then we drop it to the running back on a quick out.
Okay.
The quarterback's still moving, and he flips it out there. So, I mean, the quarterback and the running back are 3 yards apart, but he drops right to him. They mirror each other down the field, depending on where that end takes it. We tried to shovel early in the year, a little middle screen. We've had 2 picked off. But it wasn't because we got good reads. It's because we're playing with guys that are 330 pounds at defensive line.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't know not to rush. They're just too slow doing it. The big bears caught it.
Yeah.
There's always risk with that one inside.
So that's kind of the last of the RPOs that we'll look at. We're going to look at some route combinations and concepts now. The shovel I felt was a good kind of segue because it's technically a pass, but it's also but it's pretty much a run play.
It's like the jet now that is a shovel.
Yeah,
it used to be a jet hand, but now if you hand it to him and he gets, he drops the ball, it's a fumble. But as long as you just kind of toss it in front of him and he catches it, if he doesn't catch it, it hits the ground, it's incomplete. You're good.
Exactly. So, I mean, the first combination we're looking at, they run spacing. So you got, the curls and hitches spread throughout the field there. Create spacing for the quarterback to make a read, get the ball to the open man, and let them get upfield there. Good stick moving combination. Good way to kind of get guys, make some tough choices for the inside of the defense there. But the first video that I'm going to show is the Portland concept. This is one of my favorites that I was looking at when I was reviewing. So let me get that one queued up for us here.
Do they tend to run a lot of more concepts mirrored, or do they have a lot of routes? Do you think they're running off of a route tree?
They're running out of a route tree, and it'll be pretty evident on this one here. So let me get it queued up here. All right, so this is that true trips look. So it's not the trips with the tight end in line, but we'll look at this from top to bottom, and you'll kind of see what I'm talking about here. So I'll play it a little bit and then kind of pause it as I'm going. All right, so from top to bottom, we have a hitch. We've got a shallow cross. We've got the tight end in this case. That was the third guy on the trip side. He's going to be running a corner. You got your wide receiver down at the bottom running a post. And then you got the running back running a wheel.
Post wheel. Most deadly pattern in football.
And that's a touchdown.
Yeah, because nobody covers the wheel.
Also helps when you have Saquon Barkley as your running back.
Yeah.
Well, that helps.
Well, it's the post concept, though, because that safety in the middle of the field, he can't leave. He can't leave early, because if he leaves early, it's an easier throw, right?
Yep.
The post,
and if the post or the wheel aren't open, look at the middle of the field who you got running pretty much wide open for a solid 8 to 10 yard gain.
It's a pit. But in this case, you can see.
That's actually one of the better wheel coverages I've seen. And he still gets beat.
Still gets beat. Good pass.
Again, helps when you have Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
That post is so important there, though, because the safety has to just stay there. He can't.
Well, this is one where Wisconsin defended pretty well, and it was still a touchdown.
It was still a touchdown, and the other big piece on this is even if they had taken away the wheel, if he had rode him out of bounds, it's that shallow cross. Yep. Back 1-2, not there, dump. There's no one on that side of the field. He probably gets to the 5-yard line.
Because one of them's out of bounds. One of them's out of bounds with the running back, and the other one's running down the field with the post.
And the safety ain't leaving. Yeah,
it's still the safety.
Yep. Yeah, well, the safety's still standing in the middle of the field to take away the post. So the safety's the only one that probably can make the play, and he's gonna come from the middle of the field all the way. What is that? Is that boundary side or field side? That's field side, wasn't it?
Let's see. Ball was almost on the right hash.
Okay, so boundary side.
Yep.
So the safety's having to come all the way to the boundary side from the middle of the field. All right. What other passing concepts you got here, man, as we get into hour 2?
Yeah, so let me go ahead and throw the smash corner and the smash fade.
ISO with the post wheel. What else do you need?
Let's run this every time.
We got to take a look at the smash corner and the smash fade here.
All right, let's look at these two.
This is this will be the fade.
All right. This is the.
This is your 2x2 with the tight end at the bottom. Like I said, I mean this is the personnel that they're going to be in the most, and this is the formation that they'll probably use the most. Kind of that 2x2 with the tight end. So let's look at the
newer pro look. Kind of because this is kind of a Gronkowski out wide.
Yeah.
Pro spread.
Pro spread, yep. And like I said, a lot of the action is going to be with that slot receiver. So we got that curl to the top. We got the fade route to the slot.
That's the kind of thing right there. So many people are getting into pattern reading. So the corner and they're looking at number 2. And when that number 2 goes vertical, the safety's frozen, and it kills you.
There it is. Look again. Look at that shallow cross again.
Yeah, it brings that safety down. And the other side, look at the other safety. I mean, he's already 30 yards deep.
He's on an island.
And he's on the opposite edge where the ball's going.
Yeah, he's on boundary side and the play's field side. The shallow cross is even if he was on the right side, the shallow cross is open again. And is this going to be is this the curl route again, Brian, at the 40? Play it out. Let's see what he does. Well, he's getting held. No, that's an in. He's running a little in. Look at that.
Yeah, so they're running the smash fade to the top. They're running kind of a drive with the dig and the drag.
Yeah,
to the bottom.
So even if that safety takes away the deep route, in this corner right here, the outside corner stays home with the little hitch. There's two guys open. As long as they're getting to their second as long as they're getting to their third or their fourth read, the way this thing is set up it's optimal spacing because you're getting such mismatches down there, which is wild.
Well, again, you're putting these safeties in very delicate situations.
He is putting the safeties in hell.
Very delicate situations.
Yeah.
We got one more. How many we got left?
We got one more. It's the mesh wheel.
All right.
So let's take a look at that one.
Hey, now, I as a defensive coach, I love a mesh. You've got to have some special cats that want to come in there and play with those linebackers like that. But if you got those cats, you can hurt some people with a mesh.
All right, this is Oregon again. 3rd and 6, top hash.
All right, here we go.
Is this trips? Or is there somebody up top? I see the inland tight end.
Race or twins.
Yeah, I think there's another receiver up top that we
Okay.
can see. No, it's trips. Right. I see down here at the bottom. So this is your inline. This is your inline tight end look with the trips.
Okay.
Yep.
Out of pistol.
All
right. They are bringing it right here. They got people filling the gaps. They don't lay back.
Yeah.
And I mean, this gives you a lot of options as a quarterback of where you want to go. Your primary is going to be the wheel. If it's there, you're going to throw that. But
my question is right there. Where's the corner? 10 is not the corner.
They're in man. They're in man.
Yeah, I think the other corner went to the trip side.
Yeah, they're in man coverage on this. They're playing a single high.
They just put a defensive end on the running back on a wheel. They should have got burned.
No, what else a linebacker or a strong safety?
That guy's hands in the dirt, brother.
No. This guy.
This guy right here. He's behind the DN.
The DN, I believe, goes upfield. They're trying to blitz right here.
No, he stops.
Oh my God!
With the damn wheel. The man with his hand on the ground stops and runs with the wheel.
Why would you do that?
How long ago was it?
I'll tell you why.
Now I understand.
It's a zone blitz.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is a perfect offensive call against the zone blitz.
Oh, that's terrible right there.
Well, as soon as he hits the 30-yard line, which is the line of scrimmage, it's just like, oh, I got this. Whoop. You have 10.
Yeah, as soon as he saw a DN chasing that running back, he's like, "Yeah, I'm throwing it to the running back."
This now.
He couldn't throw it soon enough.
Oh my gosh! Well, boys, this has been so fun, so educational. The last 2 hours and 20 minutes. For real, we probably could go another hour. I mean, I'm not even going to joke because
I didn't even talk about the trick plays. They run this thing where they swap the quarterback and running back, and they run a bunch of different RPO elements off of that.
Holy God,
Curtis! I thought you were going to talk to Coach Holt and get into the special teams.
Well,
next segment.
Coach Holt's pops is just down the road from y'all, isn't he?
He used to be.
Oh, okay.
They're originally from like the Starmount area out here.
Okay.
And what's his name? A.B. Holt? D.B. Holt? I don't know. It's his initials Holt. When I first got to Rose in Greenville, he was the head coach at Rocky Mountain High School out there.
Okay.
And he's since retired there. He's one of the winningest coaches in North Carolina high school history. Really good dude. Had some time out there. Edgecombe County, Rocky Mountain, those areas. I've got to know him a little bit while we were out there. Heck of a coach.
So we kind of talked last week about recruiting and stuff, and you obviously have known Derek Jones. You talk about Holt. You talk about Glenn, who coached down in Carolina. Obviously, the Virginia stuff with Pry and JC and Fontel Mines. It's a plan in place, and
yes.
I look forward to more and more of it. But boys, it's late. Let's wrap this up. Robbie, we might have you back on in a few months after spring game to look at some things. So get the hull of the ship there ready again. Get the board cleared off this time. We'll draw some stuff up on it.
You talk about the coaches and the recruiting and all that stuff. One thing I want to bring up, I didn't think to bring it up earlier. Look at the defensive coaching staff that they brought in. Outside of Prelude's 3 years of coaching and Marv's 8, they're in another one on the defensive side of the ball with less than 20 years.
It's true. It's very true, man. Very true.
Yep.
And some of those times have been together. So
very true.
The familiarity is going to be there.
Yes, it is. All
I'm
right.
excited. It'll be fun to watch.
Can't wait for it, man. Well, that's going to wrap up this episode of the Boundary Corner podcast. I'm Curtis Wilson.
I'm Brian Siegler. That's Robbie Compton.
That's Robbie Compton. Visit our website, boundarycornervt.com, to listen to all of our episodes. While you're there, don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube account, especially with this episode, so you can see those plays and some of the documents that Robbie had there from TSL. Robbie with that yellow hat there, our buddy Brian Wilkerson, God rest his soul, definitely with us here tonight. So do not forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast source, Apple, Amazon, Spotify. As always, our buddy Jason Long, he plays us in, plays us out. Catch him on Spotify and Apple Music. Also check his YouTube account out. See him playing some covers. Has he done anything lately? I feel like he's been slacking with all the snow.
I want to say he's going to be. I think he put his first farmers market appearance on the
yes,
docket.
He is. Thank you for saying that. He's going to be out at Grandin Farmers Market down in Roanoke. Go check him out there. As always, we thank you for listening. Don't step on his lawn because he's an ornery old man. We thank you for listening. And as always, let's go.
Hokies!